young singer named Justin Moore.
We don't do a whole lot of bullshitting up here. We just get up here and play country music.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Justin Moore here. Welcome back into the Justin Moore podcast. I'm back in the friendly confines of my home field, I guess. And I've actually fully anticipated this being, for those of you watching, this being my office. For those just listening, fully anticipated this being completely remodeled once I got back from the beach. But I got to give Miss Amanda, our designer, some crap because it still looks just as bad as it did when I left. But it's good to be back home. I know she's working on it. I'm just giving her a hard time. And I've been saying I was going to redo my office for years now. For those out there who've been listening to this podcast from the get-go, we actually are making progress. But anyway, happy to be back with you after a week off. I'm here, as always, with my tour manager, best buddy, and co-host for this podcast, JR the Handler. What's up, buddy?
Hey, brother. I'm good, buddy. Yeah, every time I've talked to Miss Amanda, she mentioned something about getting your office set up for the studio. She's always like, "You're going to be so excited. I'm going to work on that next Wednesday." I'm like, "Awesome." Then the next week, she'll text me, "When are y'all leaving? When are y'all coming back?" I'm like, "He's coming back next week. Middle of the week or early in the week from the beach." Okay, well, I'll have it done next Wednesday then. I mean, I'm like, all right. She usually is on top of it. I'm sure she's just been doing a ton of other stuff, and it's just low on her totem pole to get done.
Yeah.
She is Kate's handler first and foremost, so she's
pretty much
probably got a list of things to handle before she gets to your office. But she asked me again this week when you were leaving. I said he'll be leaving on the bus Wednesday evening. She said,
"Yeah,
well, I was going to work on it Wednesday or something." And I'm like, "Well, you still can. He won't be in there. Just go do it. Go."
Yeah,
it's kind of like that movie. Kind of like that movie Half Baked back in the day when the guy's in prison and they're like, "We got a plan how to get you out of here." He's like, "Okay, good, go do it." He's like, "We're going to sell drugs." He's like, "Okay, that's fine. I don't care. Go do whatever. Just go do it. Go get me out of jail. Whatever you got to do, go do it. Let's go. Quit. No more talk. No more buddy love on the window. Just go." So anyway, that's basically what I told her, get to it when you can, but yeah, the sooner the better. But she's going to have plenty of time now because we're going to be on the road for like 5-6 weeks in a row, hopefully doing this podcast remotely. So she should have no excuse by the time we get back that all your stuff's not up and looking good. And hopefully we can get all of our stuff plugged in out on the road and log in some quality podcast from afar, which I'm kind of excited about really because, we talked about it the whole time. That was the original plan. And 2 years later, here we go, maybe going to make it happen.
Yeah, here we are. We're finally going to make it happen, as you said. And before we move along, in Amanda's defense, she did think I was not coming home until the end of August. We actually got a chance to come home a few weeks early for a few days. So, I've seen downstairs my new office chairs there. I've seen all the decorations and stuff. They just ain't up yet.
Right.
So we're making progress. I know people out there rolling their eyes going, he's been talking about this for like a year and a half or something now. But it is coming. But you mentioned, man, and before we go any further, I want to say we missed you guys last week. What we decided to do, we were supposed to have a guest last week that actually an NFL quarterback. And our schedules didn't align properly, mine and his. And so we decided rather than throw something together real quick on the fly, that JR and I would just enjoy the last week of our so-called summer vacation. I had, a lot of fun with my kids at the beach. It was our last week there because, as JR kind of pointed out, we're about to get slam-packed through the end of the year, and we knew it was kind of the calm before the storm, so we thought, you know what, rather than, throw somebody else in here, because we had done research and stuff for that guest, and we're going to get him on in the future, near future, hopefully.
Yeah.
And so we've already talked about rescheduling.
Yeah.
And I think you guys will be shocked when you hear who it is. But nonetheless, we decided to take the week off, so hopefully you guys had a great week. And then the week before that, we had Jess Lockwood, champion PBR bull rider, cowboy. It was a lot of fun talking to him. We share a sponsor in Bobcat, and we'll talk a little more about Bobcat throughout the show. I got some news to report on getting my goodies, and I've been using them. And so, but
Jess
anyway, that's
Jess
why we
was
weren't
great
here last week.
Yeah, I had to say that too. Jess was
He
great.
really was.
Don't you think, Jess? He was a great guest. I mean, a young guy like that, so well put together and sharp and just easy to talk with. Not you can tell he's done it enough to where he knows the media savvy, but he also was just loose and cool. I thought it was great. I enjoyed that with
honest,
Jess. Yeah. So I look forward to talking with him again in the future on down maybe the end of the year when his season starts winding down. And NFL quarterback buddy that we look forward to talking to, just didn't quite work out schedule wise because him going into their season and us and like last week. I didn't really get much break. I was hammering on getting all this stuff lined up for these next couple of weeks. Well, the last 2 days I've backtracked. I've been chilling the last 2 days, to be honest with you. But it didn't want to pressure it on him because of the season coming up, and unfortunately he suffered an injury. So we want to send our prayers and thoughts out to him and their organization and his family and stuff. Hopefully he's speedy recovery and he's back in action sooner than later. But I talked with his agent and we decided let's just do it at the end of the year. It's his first year at a new team, so might as well just do it at the end of the year and hopefully have some good stuff to talk about. And I told her, well, hopefully later than sooner. That means he's winning, so hopefully all that works out. And hated to miss a week last week, but as we've said before, all the new stuff with getting back out on the road, and now we're putting together this podcast package that we're going to be able to record from the road. Just kind of been a lot more stuff going on right now than we had, just to mention the prior 16 months when we didn't have to go on the road every week, and especially for 5-6 weeks in a row. But now we're going to get a system down. We're going to do some stuff from the road. We're going to have some new fun guests. We talked about having some of the band and crew on some of these first ones from the road. Maybe that might be interesting and fun, and coming from some different locations, and people on the shows with us, and just interesting people we meet along the way. Maybe jump them on.
We haven't had band guys on since the first season, so I think it'll be fun to talk to some of them. And we've had a couple of guys who have decided to retire, as we've discussed, and so we got some fresh meat. we can talk to them, get to know them a little bit, and it's kind of one of those deals. Again, be careful what you wish for. We've been wanting to go to work and be busy for 16 months. It's here, and so not only are we excited to go play the concerts and the shows and get out and see everybody, but as JR alluded to, we've got all our ducks in a row for doing this podcast out on the road, and I think it's going to be fun for you guys, especially the ones who watch it as well, which you can watch the Justin Moore podcast on YouTube and check that out, because I think it's a lot of fun when you get to see it as opposed to just listening to it. But if you can't, certainly please listen, though. But we're going to be in some really cool locations, and we've talked about giving you guys behind-the-scenes info and stuff. Now we're going to be able to give it to you. You're going to be able to sit backstage with us if we decide to do it backstage, or in the bus, or hell, on stage, or we're gonna have some time off. JR, I was thinking on this run we're gonna have some time off where we're actually going to a remote camping area, and I thought that might be cool. We may be with a mountain in the background, or we may have some beautiful lake in the background, or so it'll really give you guys, I think, a great idea of what it is we get to see each and every day on the road, which I think is kind of neat as well. Yeah,
and hopefully, and we're going to be out in California out west, and hopefully we're for everybody out there, we don't have wildfires in the background.
No doubt.
I've been watching some of the news. I watched the PBS, Public Broadcasting, is one of my favorite go-tos, and I've been watching the world news, which is pretty cool because, with our stuff, you only see what goes on in America. They may glimpse something outside only if it's, flashy enough for the media to pick up. But, man, there is some wild stuff going on. I mean, Turkey's on fire. I was watching Italy this morning with these landslides and rain, and people over in China really bad. Like, I heard somewhere in China a couple days ago they had 2 feet of rain in like a day and a half and stuff, and
Golly.
it just crazy. And I know Germany just had a bad spat, and we've got enough in America with the wildfires and flooding and stuff. So just everybody out there, be careful. Want to send love and thoughts and prayers out to all those people. But hopefully where we don't have to. We've got a backup plan if it does get close enough, because I know one of the spots we were going to be with, there's wildfires right now within like 75 miles.
Wow.
So you just don't know. It's just that time of the year, and I know down here we've had. We're still having our little spats of rain. I know you left the coast. I'm still down here, but when I got home the other day, golly, it was about 96, I think, and then Sunday was right at 100 plus a heat index supposed to be over 110 and crazy. But now today it's 85 degrees and nice.
Wow.
And it rained this morning, and I'm gonna cut the grass this afternoon. So just wild, wacky weather out there. Hadn't seen any big hurricanes, knock on wood. Hopefully we're gonna get to avoid those. But we're coming. This is August. This is the time when all that has to, it's time to. That's about to happen if it's going to happen. So hopefully we'll avoid that this year. But
so.
Looking forward to get back out on the road. And like you said, doing some podcasts from the road. We've been on the road a little bit lately, Just. I know if you want to, we can chit chat about that a little bit, since we haven't, since we didn't get to do a podcast last week. 2 weeks ago, we were in Henderson, Nevada, which is outside of Las Vegas. Had a real fun show outside.
Awesome show.
Yeah,
Great
Station
crowd.
Inn. Station Inn Casino. Always love playing there. We got a cool setup. Great crowd. Yeah, and even there, we had to cut the encore a little short because the wind started gusting up 30-something miles an hour, and a dust storm there. They had rain the night before, which they never do. And then I talked to the promoter or the venue rep the day after we left, and she said that later that night that we played, it started raining, and then it was still raining like 2 days later. So we got –
which they never get rain.
Never. So that's what she said. We're used to a light sprinkle here and there. She said it was downpours. And it actually wrecked some of the gear. We had to take longer getting set up that day. Jeff and them had some problems with some of the PA being saturated. So –
and I will say that was a first for me. We had to cut our show a little bit short, not much, but a little bit short due to wind. I think that's a first in my career. I mean, we've had some windy spots, but they actually, I guess it was, I don't know if it's by law or it's just the parameters with which they work, that particular venue or promoter, but if it gets to a certain amount of wind or a certain mile per hour gust, I should probably say, you have to quit.
Yeah,
and that's where it got to.
That might be something fun to talk about. We talk about behind the curtain or inside baseball there. When you go to a concert or you see somebody had to cancel, I'll break that down to you real quick, because we have to talk about this in meetings and stuff. And before the show, we have a weather meeting and security meeting. We talk about things like this. And I'm sure everybody'd be interested to know, because you don't know unless somebody tells you. You don't know how all that goes down. But it like Justin said, that's literally how it goes down. There are certain things that are mandated locally through the venue, and it all revolves around their protocols and their insurance. Basically, ever since the Sugarland incident at the Indiana State Fair some years ago, that was one of the big triggers to make sure everybody tightened down on that. Well, all of these stages where you see permanent structures as well, but these pop-up stages like at festivals or outside of venues and stuff, they put a stage, they're wind rated, and they're only rated for a certain amount of wind. That would not be sustained wind or gust wind. All the PA speakers and stuff that's hanging in the air and lights and and the top on the stage and all that has a rating to it. So as far as wind goes, yes, if it's a sustained certain mile-an-hour wind or gust up to a certain mile-an-hour wind, say for that event we were in Henderson, Nevada, their wind rating was 33 miles an hour. When it got to sustained winds at 33 or gust over 40, they had to evacuate. Mm-hmm. So certain ones are different. Now, the stage may be rated at, say, 75 mile per hour winds, but that doesn't – the rigging with everything hanging is a different rating. So you go by and everyone's different, but it's basically in that range, 30, 40 mile an hour, some 20, 25, just depending on where you're at, because they can get out of control quick. Because if you got 20 mile an hour winds and it gusts to 27, then 10 minutes later it gusts to 37, that changes things. So you have to go down by that. The big one, though, is that always gets us. well, when I'll say this one first is rain. Rain really is not going to slow us down unless it is just pouring to the lightning's the getter. Rain's only going to get us to the point where if we're afraid of getting electrocuted on stage, or you guys just physically can't play anymore. It's just too heavy. But getting a little wet and all that stuff, we'll go with that. Now, lightning is the one that usually shuts her down, because that is just, you have to go by this, and this is every venue, every local, every state has requirements for what they seem appropriate. Now, it's basically a circle from where you're at the venue out. Some could be 5 miles, some could be 10 miles, some could be 15 miles. But when you have a lightning strike within whatever that radius is, there's a allotted amount of time that you have to have everyone evacuated before you can try to start back up again. So for instance, we were in Colorado Springs, Colorado on one of our first shows of this year. They had lightning within like 6 miles, so you have to evacuate for 25 minutes. So I had to go on and do an announcement. Everybody had to leave the stadium. 25 minutes goes, no more lightning strikes, you get everybody back in. It happens again, got to evacuate them again, which we did in Colorado Springs twice. So
I'll jump in there real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
From an artist perspective, I don't want to throw you off track here, but before I started doing this for a living, I would just, as a fan, have assumed that it's just completely up to the artist, and if they're not going to go out there and play in the rain, they're being chickens or what. Unfortunately, it's completely out of our hands. I mean, for the most part. I mean, it really, truly is. And I'm not just saying that because I am an artist. That's just that's the truth. Right. Chris Jansen was playing with us that particular night, and he was made to leave the stage. And it was maybe 4 or 5 songs into his set, something like that. And he caught a lot of flack over it on social media. It had nothing to do with him. It had nothing to do with us. We're just as disappointed as everybody else, Yeah,
you don't go all that way not to work.
Yeah, we didn't go to Colorado not to get on stage and play. Trust
right.
me. But so it's, I guess what I'm saying is, for those that out there that didn't know that, now you know, and and it's, again, I'm not saying it because I'm an artist, but it's not up to us. I mean, we're basically waiting on the information, just like all of you guys out there who would be at the show. We get it, and then 5 minutes later you get it, the information. So we don't know anything more than you guys do, and so the ears we wear, somebody will, maybe you or whomever, Jeff, somebody will go, "Hey Justin, after this song you got to get off stage." So if if you go to a concert and you see that happen, now you'll know, like, it's right. Somebody telling us what to do. It's not us going, "All right, I've been here long enough. I've made my money. I'll see y'all next time." It's not that at all. So I just wanted to provide that perspective. Yeah, so I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good, and that's a good point, because that is true. Myself, the venue, and Jeff, our production manager, who does our weather for us, and their weather person, all get together. We come up with a plan where we're going to meet if weather changes. Which Colorado Springs, I didn't have that meeting, but we all met together anyway. Myself, Chris's manager, his tour manager, the venue, Ingrid, the opening act, her management. We all met up and was like, if this goes down, because it hailed that afternoon, like before the lightning and stuff. Like, I think it was right before she went on, it started hailing. Yeah, like golf ball size hail.
If you'll remember, I had Ella Kennedy and South out with me, and we had gone and went to a park and played, and we were. They were outside rollerblading or something, outside the bus, and it started hailing.
Yeah,
and so it was just kind of crazy.
And then stuff swirls around those mountains, and then here comes some lightning, and you could see it, and it's like, oh, that's not good. Well, it was far enough off to where we kept going, and then by the time she got done with her set, it lightened, and then we had to go through that whole thing. But it's on the venue, 95% of the time. The artist can call it if the venue's trying to push something on them and they don't feel comfortable. The artist can, but usually everyone is at agreement that we have to take the utmost precaution in those situations, because as much as it's fun for the thousands of fans to see the show, if one fan gets hurt or worse, God forbid. Then it's not worth it for anybody. It's not. No, there's no money. There's no enjoyment that can make up for any of that. So you just can't chance it nowadays. And with the way, like we were talking even before we got on this, with the weather popping up, outside shows, you just got to ready to roll with the flow. If they tell you to evacuate, you get somewhere safe, because everywhere's going to have somewhere that they either, if it has, some places it's your car, which that's the safest spot. You get out of the wind. If there's hail, you're out of that, or, this place we played this past weekend, Flanagan's, up in Columbus, Ohio, which was awesome. They had a big shed, barn, pavilion over there that could hold the thousands of people that were outside. They could have all shifted to there and inside their other building if we had it, which we didn't have any that day, so we didn't need it. But we have to talk about it every time, and they tell me what their regional thing is, and I can step over that now. If they tell me, well, we only do 5 miles, lightning, and we'll go back on in 5 minutes. It's like, that doesn't really sound safe. I could say, why don't we stretch that to let's wait 10 or 15 minutes, And then you got to think also, too, we have curfews. Some of these venues and cities and certain things have.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah,
well, noise ordinances and curfews and things like that come into play. You can only do so much. So, if you get shut down early, we're trying to hurry up and get everybody out and let the weather hurry up and stop so we can hurry up and get back on and play up until curfew, or push it, So that's a factor in there too. You're like, well, should we break now and then just try to come back out? This actually happened. I was talking to my good buddy Jerry Sloan, Luke Combs' production manager, the other week. They had this when they were down here in Orange Beach. They had to stop one time and then start back up. And that's the decision you have to make. Is it better to just hurry up and stop so you can hurry up and get started back, or is it about to get real bad and probably not going to stop? Should we try to get in a couple of the hits and let's try to get the ringer or two in there and then hopefully we can get back out. But if we don't, we at least got that much done and
Yeah, that brings up another good point, completely unrelated to weather, and again, hopefully this is interesting to you guys and not boring to y'all. But we talked about giving y'all a little, perspective from behind the scenes and kind of what we deal with and some of the inside baseball stuff, and we've tried to continue to do that throughout, the life of the Justin Moore podcast, and that brings up another thing for me, and I wouldn't have known had I not done this for a living, but, you talk about curfews. So it's not everywhere, but it's, what would you say, maybe half the places we play? Something like that?
The bigger the city, the tighter things like that. The proximity, if it's outside, proximity to certain things.
Residential areas and, those. So it'll be a city thing.
Or union. Big cities, a lot of times. Union
or a building
thing.
So let me see how to get into this and not get super messy with it. So like noise ordinance wise, you have to be completely shut down from a noise perspective. Let's just say by 11 o'clock. Well, if you've got an opening act that goes until 9 and we don't get on stage until 9:30, I'm sure there have been moments, and I'm not only talking about me, I'm talking about every artist, but if you go on stage at 9:30 and you get off stage at 11, well, some people may leave disappointed going, well, dang, I didn't hear this song, and this song. He only played an hour and a half, which an hour and a half is a good long show. I'm just using that as an example. That's kind of, we couldn't go on until X time, and we have to be off by X time. So we try to cram as much into the show as we possibly can, but I can promise you most every artist would go out there and play for 5 hours every night if you'd let us.
Yeah.
Especially right now. And then another good example of the same type of deal is if you're, say, on a major tour, say we were going out with, Keith Urban this year.
Or Paisley.
Or Brad Paisley.
Speaking of, shout out Brad Paisley to my buddy Brent Long.
Yeah, what's up, Brent?
Longtime TM, who is a listener of this podcast. I actually talked with him last week on the bus. We've actually been texting this morning about Latrell Sprewell. So anyway, we'll use Brad and Brent as an example.
Yeah, Brad. So say you go out, and if you're in my position, you would play right before Brad in probably, 50 minutes? 60 minutes,
an hour, maybe,
whatever. Yeah, say 60 minutes. Well, that don't mean 61 minutes.
Yeah.
That don't mean 63 minutes. That means 60 minutes at the most. So usually, if you're playing a 60-minute show, you try to make it 56, 57, 58.
Yeah.
You know,
That way you can do the walk off and wave and all that.
So, and the only reason I say that is, and Brad's got the same deal. So, obviously, it's his tour. He can structure it any way he wants to, but you still have to be out of that building by a certain time or off stage by a certain time, because there are, on a Brad tour, how many hands would you say there probably are? And by hands, we mean union workers in there to help break the stage down, get the gear off, all that. Well, I mean, 50, 60?
30.
I don't
probably
know.
30, 40, 50. Yeah, depends.
So if you go past let's say the 11 o'clock hour, that's...
I mean, we usually have like 20.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, it's costing...
Yeah, so maybe double that.
Not only do you have a curfew, but it's 1 minute could cost you, I mean, bukus and bukus of money, because you got to dive into another hour. Anyway, that's probably sometimes getting off in the weeds for you guys, but I do think it's interesting, because had I not done this for a living, I never would have known any of this. And we just use Brad for an example because he's a buddy of ours, as is Brent.
Yeah, and too, where you got to go the next day. How long a push we got? Yeah, as much as sometimes it'd be
good to play. If you got 700 miles to go,
and you have to be set up, because you got to be set up because the festival and the doors are at 2:00, and if you don't get there till 1:30, you're not going to get set. And then it just sometimes that's another wrinkle in there too. You have to you got to account for that, and you got to give downtime for your drivers. You got to get your crew a little rest, things like that. So I guess lot of factors in there.
To tie a bow on this conversation, there is a method to our madness. It's not just one night we go play 3 hours and the next night we go play an hour and 15. No. It's all there's a reason behind us doing each and everything that we do out there.
Yeah, and the moral of the story is
and this is what JR deals with every day. I don't have to deal with this stuff as much. I've got to know when I need to be on and off. He has to deal with all this other stuff. That's why he gets paid the big bucks.
That's right. Yeah. So still waiting on my Bobcat side by side.
Speaking of, I don't know, for those watching, I've been putting these to use, so we'll go ahead and go into the Bobcat stuff. Since
Hey, but before we do that though, I want to say that on that though, safety stuff at shows, outdoor stuff. Just because you don't see the weather, or you think it's fine for everybody to play, as much as we'd like to, it's for your safety and your friends and fellow concert goers' safety each and every time. It is never a money thing. Sure. I've watched Justin throw down money to make stuff happen. I've watched promoters lose their ass to make shit happen. Just trust me. Don't go on here and bash anybody or crush the venue, because I get it. But if it's bad, we'll do something to make it up. But it's ultimately for your safety. So
yeah, and I don't know if every artist does this. I know we do. I pay a monthly fee to a group of meteorologists who give us expert advice.
Yep.
So my production manager, Jeff, let's say we're an hour from the show, he can call on any of those guys or gals and get, and that's a monthly fee that we pay each and every month, because we want to know, what the experts' opinions are, not us standing out there looking, going,
exactly.
It looks all right, and then all of a sudden,
me on my phone,
something blows up out of nowhere. So yeah, JR's right. Everything's done for a reason, and the reason is keeping everybody safe. Y'all, and we want to come back home to our family safe too, just like y'all do. So,
and if you are an opening act or a direct support act for a big artist out on a big tour, you can go over 1 or 2 minutes for a night or two, but then you go get a talking to, and you don't want to have them talking to. So, like Justin said, aim your set to be about 3 minutes short.
And then the talking to about the second time is adios. We just replaced you with so and so.
Or now you've got 45 minutes since y'all want to keep going late, stuff like that. So anyway, but Bobcat, our fantastic new sponsor, Bobcat.
Yeah, speaking of Bobcat, so while I was at the beach, I got a couple of toys delivered. I got a zero-turn mower, which is awesome, by the way. I haven't actually cut the grass with it because I don't need it right now. I thought about going and doing it anyway, but if I cut it too short, it's just going to die.
You just been riding around drinking beer on it, making sure it works right?
Yeah, riding around. Riding around the little circle drive.
Doing donuts.
But what I have been on that also got delivered was my tractor. And it's the first tractor. You can imagine before we left, I bush hogged our whole property. And and I bush hog about, I don't know, for those out there living about, 30 acres, 40 acres, so I don't know, something like that. And I had done it before we left for the beach, and so you can imagine it hadn't been done since then, how bad it was. So I get home, I got a brand new tractor, and this is the first tractor I've ever had with a cab in my life. I've just always had like
enclosed
an old
cab.
school, enclosed cab. You're gonna laugh at this, so.
You had the heater on.
I did. No, but it's kind of in that vein. So I had a couple of days ago after we got back, gotten on it and done some. I did it all day yesterday. As soon as we get off of this podcast recording this, I'm going to go do it again. But the air conditioning in that dude will run you out of it. You would be in heaven. So I had yesterday, it was probably 90 here, something like that. And Kate, my wife, goes, "Was it hot?" And she goes, "Oh, I guess it wasn't." I had a pullover sweatshirt on all day sitting in my deal mowing because I got to the point where I was too cold. I had it on the lowest setting, and I was freezing. So I'm like, I gotta go
get
put
my
a
blankie.
sweatshirt on. So I went and put a sweatshirt on. The other cool thing about it, I'm used to putting boots and jeans and long sleeve shirts so I don't get stuff all over me and burnt and all that. I literally was in athletic shorts, tennis shoes, and my T-shirt and pullover all day yesterday. Didn't get dirty, didn't get sweaty.
Wow.
Have got a radio in it. It's like heaven. I love it. Yeah, game changer. I mean, it's like it would be basically like you riding around in your truck bush hogging. I mean, it's awesome.
Right.
I mean, so that's what I'm actually looking forward to going out and working because of Bobcat's equipment. So thank you, Bobcat. And thank you for being a sponsor. I would say that regardless, though. It's awesome.
So you've got your old tractor is now officially for sale because the new one is the only one you're going to be riding on anymore.
It looks so sad just sitting out in the barn. It's just like, I'm like, deuces. See ya.
Sorry, buddy.
Sorry, brother.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, so, Bobcat, thank those guys and gals so much for working on this, making all that happen. And we actually got to meet some Bobcat distributors that own some locations this past weekend.
Where was that, Ohio?
Yeah, it was at Flanagan's at Ohio.
What a cool venue, by the way. Yeah, Flanagan's in Ohio. Got to thank them for showing us a great time. Crowd was awesome. Ohio's been as good to us as anywhere in the country. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, it really has been. It's been awesome to us. I think we spoke about that when we talked about Country Concert a few weeks back. But this venue, if you're in the Columbus area, I'm trying to think of how to do. You know what it reminded me of? And I'm going to date myself here a little bit. It reminded me of, you remember when MTV used to go like in the summertime to do these like outside events? CMT might have done some of this too. Like outside concert events where it was just like a party.
Yeah, like Club La Vila.
Yeah, like stuff like that. I don't know how to describe. I mean, it was like upstairs, downstairs, half inside, half outside.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
it was kind of like if the Floribama was just all open in one big stage outside that opened up the whole thing. It had sand. It was volleyball courts. It was like, apparently there used to be a big pool there.
Yeah.
But they had filled the pool in for more space and liability purposes years ago.
Yeah.
And it was a stage on one side and then this big open area with the club on the other side. But I mean, it was,
and I don't know
how many,
I don't know how many people it holds. I would have guessed maybe 3,000 or something.
I think it was a work closer to 4, but that's a big sprawling place. Yeah.
But if you're in that area and like live music and it's a really neat venue. I mean, it really is a neat venue. I enjoyed it. I would love to go back and play there. It kind of like the one in Delaware. Let's go play a couple nights in a row, man.
Yeah,
you know.
I actually told the owner that. I said we're going to come back and do
cool.
2 nights next time because it was cool, and yeah, it just had that. It had a vibe kind of like the one in Dewey Beach. It was outside,
just quite a bit bigger.
But it was outside, but it was inside. And there was beer tents set up and bars and stuff. And they had the upper deck, the VIP deck, and it kind of reminds you of the old school concerts at Club La Villa that MTV used to do.
Yeah, you know what it kind of reminded me of too. It kind of reminded me of my pool house and backyard area, just way bigger.
Yeah,
in a way,
sort of.
You know what I mean? Kind of a hang atmosphere. I don't know. It was really neat. A lot of fun, great crowd. But I would certainly suggest or recommend rather that you guys go check that out if you're in that area and love live music, because it was a pretty neat venue.
Yeah, I told 3 or 4 people while we were there that if I lived around there, that's where I would be. I'd definitely go to those shows, you know.
Yeah, and
that'd be my venue. That'd be like my Floribama. If I lived around there, that'd be my go-to.
Yeah, and the folks there were awesome to us. Dave and everybody there were great to us. And kind of a funny story. They've been trying to book us there for 3 years, they said, and they always tried.
5 or 6 years.
So they always try to book us on the 4th of July. Well, they didn't know that we don't work on the 4th of July. My 4th of July is probably my favorite holiday, honestly. That or Thanksgiving. And so we take it off for that reason, but the main reason is my wife's birthday is the 5th. My youngest daughter's birthday is July 14th. So we just kind of always take that week and a half, 2 weeks off and hang out and celebrate birthdays and do fireworks and the whole summer beach kind of thing. But nobody told them that. He was like, man, I was thinking you just didn't want to come play here. You hated me or what? I was like, no. So I was like, if it ain't New Year's Eve, JR told me, because if it ain't a holiday, we'll play here. You know.
So that's why I told Dave, I was like, I literally told our new bus driver, Eddie, the day before, I was like, I've been here 8 years. We never work on 4th of July, Thanksgiving, Christmas, or New Year's Eve. It's just not going to happen. I got married on New Year's Eve, so I could always have my anniversary off. So.
Usually not Halloween either with the kids.
Halloween, usually not either.
We do some, like some of the others. Veterans Day, Memorial Day. We love playing those, especially
Labor Day.
Tied into military type stuff. But the big ones, the big family ones rather, we don't ever play. So.
That's family time. You told me that right when I got hired on. He's like, that's family time. Go home. We'll see you in January or February.
Yeah,
so I love it.
Sure.
And nobody, that's what Dave said. He said, and I love the fact that that's why, but no one ever told me. He said, you were the first, a friend, I really didn't book country, and we opened this place up, and I wanted you to be the first act, so I submitted the offer, thought it was fine, fair. Told me no. I was like, okay. So the next year we tried again the next year. And he's like, what the hell? This guy just doesn't like me. No one told him we don't, because he kept trying to book us on the 4th of July weekend because they do a big thing, which makes sense. That outdoor area they have to do a big 4th of July. So I said, yeah, anytime outside of that, we're down, buddy. So that was cool. Yeah, it was great venue, great personnel there. Got to meet some cool people right there. Got to see our good buddy Adam Burns from our record label. Got to hang with him. His beard and hair is just awesome, getting awesomer. If you ever see us with a guy that just looks like he should be the, bass player in Justin's band, but also could look like a radio Jesus, that's Adam from our record label. Yeah. He's got great hair and beard. But we got to meet an awesome little family. Little Henry and his family. I put a picture up on Instagram of Henry and his family. They were awesome. It was good to meet them.
Yeah, they were great. I had met them. Oh man, I forget when it was. It was Hobart Arena, but years ago, and they're 3 little boys. One who's dealt with some health issues, and I think he's doing really well. Talking to his dad right now, so continued, great news for them. Hopefully, and our prayers are out to them and thoughts. But super sweet people, and it was good to get to catch up with them. We got to catch up with Heath Sanders, which was fun.
Yes.
Hang out with him a little bit, he and his crew. And let's see. Our buddy CJ, got to hang out with CJ, catch up with him.
CJ. Ingrid Andrus opened the show. I think it's the second one she's done with us. I actually talked to Becky from William Morris, her manager. Had a good talk with her. I hadn't talked to her in a long time. It's good catching up. She's really good. I enjoyed her band. They were
Yeah,
good.
so that's a prime example of what we'll be able to do on the podcast. I know we've discussed it many times, but that day, for instance, we could have maybe caught up on the bus or backstage with Heath and Ingrid for 15 minutes apiece or whatever.
Right.
And so that's kind of where our mind is at as we move forward with taking this show on the road.
Yep. Well, let's do. Let's go down our dates. Josh, you want to do that real quick? I know we're.
Let's do it.
I say we just hold our commercial break to the end of the show before I do my reading, and we'll just run through everything we got.
Yeah.
And then,
I can't wait to go get my Bobcat.
Let's
Let's do it. Let's do it quick.
Yep. Here we go. Yeah. Justin's ready to go get his blankie on in his air
Ready to go to
conditioned
work.
tractor. I actually got to cut my grass today too and go ship some JR the Handler T-shirts today. And actually I talked to my brother earlier. He and my mom and my nephew are leaving Tampa earlier today, going to Grands in Mississippi. So later this afternoon we're going to drive up to I-10 and meet them and have dinner and see my nephew for a little bit. Yeah,
that'll be good.
So they were just going over there. Didn't even tell Grand they're coming. I was like, did you tell Grand you coming? No. We're just going. I was like, I hear you, buddy.
That's the way to handle that.
That's right. So they're loading up going. So, yeah, I got a busy afternoon, too, so we're going to cut it short. Like I said, I took the last 2 days off. I did my normal texting back and forth with Joey and Pete and Cody and a couple of emails I had to get on. But some of them I've got backlogged. I'm just like, I got to take a break because you know how it is. We talked about this the other day with doing stuff and, when people ask for, different things that involve our time out on the road, we talked about this. If you'll just never end if you don't make time to. You could just keep doing it forever. That's the same like with me at home. And I talked again my buddy Jerry Sloan the other week about this when I saw them. It just never ends on our end. I could get every show advanced for this year and get everything lined up and in Master Tour and talk to Jeff and make sure he's got production and Tanner's got merch lined up. And we could have everything set. Well, I could just keep going to next year. It would never end if I don't take a break to not deal with to do work stuff. It just never ends. There's always something I could be doing, and I try to stay on it. And I'm pretty good about staying on it, but at some point you just got to say no. Like last week, I went fishing with my buddy Brandon on Monday night. And I was out in the yard talking with my buddy Crawford, and I was like, I got this. I need to do this and that to do. And I looked at him. I said, I just need to go, don't I? Because if I don't, I'll find something else to do. He said, oh, yeah, you should definitely go. Because if you don't, you'll sit here. You more or less
have to force yourself to stop.
Yeah. So I did that. I did that the last 2 days and spent a good day at home Monday, Sunday, just relaxing. Hadn't had a Sunday at home because I flew home Saturday. And then yesterday, Cherie Snacks took the boat out for a little while. It was fun. Nice. She got to drive the boat some, went to the Floribama, had a bushwhacker, went swimming. I went swimming in the ocean a little bit, saw some cool, stuff. I was actually told Cherise we were walking up down the beach. I saw this cool-looking red stingray, and I was like, oh, come look. And she's like, oh, that's neat. I said, yeah. I was actually over here looking for a watch or a pair of sunglasses or a diamond ring somebody lost, but I'll take Mother Nature instead.
Yeah.
But so we went out on the boat yesterday, but today, I say all that to say, today when we get off this podcast, it's back to hammer time for old JR until we go meet up with my brother, because we have all these fabulous dates coming along. As when this podcast airs, Thursday, August 5th, we're actually playing the Cattaraugus County Fairgrounds in Little Valley, New York. I'm sure I'm butchering that county's name. I'm sorry. But Little Valley, New York, playing the fair up there Thursday as this airs. Y'all come on if you're in the area. That's about 50 miles south of Buffalo, New York. August 6th, which will be this Friday night, the day after this podcast airs, this being the third season, the 23rd episode of said Justin Moore podcast. Thank you for all your rating and reviewing and clicking and liking. We're going back to one of our other favorite, a place you and I have enjoyed since the first time we played there, Hampton Beach Casino and Ballroom in Hampton Beach, New Hampshire, which is a historic venue that's been around for, I don't know, maybe 100 years. If you name them, they've played there. Elvis, the Beatles, Sinatra, Nat King Cole, everybody's played there. And the first time we went, we were amazed because we walked down the street and got like a whole lobster for like $8 or something.
Yeah, we're definitely doing that again.
Yes.
100%.
100%. So that's at the Hampton Beach Casino and Ballroom Friday, August 6th. I know local Bobcat distributor is doing a big setup, and they're going to do specialty drinks and a bunch of giveaways and all kinds of fun stuff. So that'll be cool. Actually talked to a fraternity brother of mine, shout out Mikey Horvath from Boston, who's going to maybe come over and visit. Then Saturday, August 7th, we've got the Indian Ranch Amphitheater in Webster, Massachusetts. Looking forward to that. It's a daytime show. We're going to play at like 2:30 in the afternoon at the amphitheater there in Webster, Massachusetts. Massachusetts, I guess how you say that. So that should be really fun. Afternoon show. Got our good buddy, longtime podcast listener, Paul Rogers, coming to that show. His first time getting out on the road and coming to see us at a live show. Big supporter of the podcast. So got him all hooked up. He's going to come meet us there. Hope he has a good time and writes a good review on the show after he's got to see his first live show in a long time, and first one, JM show live in person. Saturday, August 7th in Webster, Massachusetts at the Indian Ranch Amphitheater. Luckily, we're playing an early show, Just, because me and you got to hop on the bus and get on back to Nashville, which is not home base, but it is for a lot of our business dealings and also home of our record label. And for this week, it will be the home of the Big Machine Grand Prix, Music City Grand Prix racing event, which you're going to take part in.
Yeah, we're one of many artists playing for that, and I actually had a conference call today, not related to that, but with Scott Borchetta, the head of our record label, who was instrumental in bringing that to Nashville, and this is, according to him, many, many, many years in the making. It's an IndyCar road course event through downtown Nashville. I didn't even realize that until we talked, and you may or may not have, I don't know. But they're they're going to leave Titan Stadium and go over the bridge, and then they go
race through downtown.
Race through downtown Nashville in Indy cars, and then go back across the bridge. I think he said it was 2.3 miles each lap or something like that, and it's maybe a 250-mile race or something. But I mean, that's pretty wild to think about. And one of the interesting things he mentioned today, which I thought I would never have thought about, but I thought that's kind of, it makes total sense. They had to weld all the manhole covers shut because of the downforce of those cars. It would have just sucked them right off.
Oh, wow.
I mean, just that's just one detail that I would never have even thought of. But it does give you an example of, why it would take years to make this happen, because there's so many of those, I'm sure, those type of things, I'm sure, to think about that, somebody like you or me wouldn't have. But it's pretty neat. I don't know. It's got to be pretty wild when you think about it. I mean, downtown Nashville, how many people and buildings and it's
hanging out on the rooftop watching 100-something miles an hour through downtown.
Crazy.
That we got a shag butt back to Nashville on Sunday to do that event, which it's going to be pretty cool. I know our buddy Riley's going to be there that day. I was talking to Jimbo, his tour manager, a couple of days ago, make sure he had his info, because yes, I did know they were going to close the streets, because I've been in contact with it, because this is in conjunction with the Grand Ole Opry, which you'll be playing with the Opry band and Roger, your guitar lead or your band leader and guitar player. The Opry band will be the backing band for everybody, and you're going to be down. We're going to be over near Titan Stadium. They've got a big stage set up. They're going to do shows every night. It'll be kind of under the bridge over there. Yep. But I've been in talks with them, because I'm trying to figure out how we can get our bus in right when they're supposed to start all this. So hopefully we'll get there in time. And then I just saw where they tapped one of a recent Justin Moore podcast. Hey, that's both Riley and
I think Carly Pierce may be on it too. So all three of them.
See, if you come join and be a guest on the Justin Moore podcast, you may too get to sing at the Music City Grand Prix. But they just tapped the Oak Ridge Boys to come in and do something. I know they're big. They've been with the Opry for a long time and having conjunction with the anniversary and stuff with the Opry. They're going to come. William Lee Golden, who we had on the podcast recently, will be there. almost done with his book, and it is absolutely fascinating. I'm loving it. I've got a couple chapters left. I get to the part where he's got pictures, and I get hung up because I just want to look at all the cool pictures he's got in there. And I heard Joe Bonsall on Terry Clark's Country Gold podcast a couple days ago, which was pretty cool hearing him telling some of the stories that William Lee did on there. So, yeah, that's a good one to check out. Anybody wants to hear some cool it's a 25, 30-minute interviews usually, but the legend, the 90s legend, Miss Terry Clark, has a cool podcast, which Justin's been a guest on before, but y'all check that out. There was one of them recently, but they're going to be on that show with us, so that'll be cool. Hopefully we can get in there and get tucked in and get all our stuff done. We need to. And then after that, we're going to head back to Arkansas for a day or two to let you take a nap in the air condition of your tractor with your blankie. And I'm going to ride around on your zero turn and do donuts with me and South, drinking some beer. And then we have a couple days off, and then we're heading out west, Justin. We're going to be out west for about 2 weeks. Our first show out west is August 12th. That'll be a Thursday. We're at the Mechanics Bank Arena in Bakersfield, California. If you're in the Bakersfield area on Thursday, August 12th, come see us.
Home of Buck Owens.
That's it. Crystal Palace, not far from the arena there. August 13th, which is Friday the 13th. Hopefully nothing bad happens. We're at the Ironstone Amphitheater in Murphys, California. That's up Northern California. Actually got a text from Jenna, Party's cousin. I think she and some of his other cousins and family are going to try to meet us for that one. So that'll be cool. That's Friday, August 13th, Murphys, California. Then we're at the Toyota Arena in Ontario, California, which is outside of Los Angeles, east of Los Angeles, on August 14th. That's a Saturday. That would have been my grandfather's Pedro's birthday. Be thinking about him that day for sure. Might have me an apple juice or two in his honor. So y'all come see us there in Ontario. Then we've got 3 days off, like you mentioned. We're going to go up and hang out somewhere in Northern California at a RV park with the band and crew guys and gals and have a little fellowship and eat and cook out and hang out. Then we're back to work on Wednesday, August 18th at the Reddick Civic Auditorium in Redding, California. That'll be fun. NorCal, that's always a good time up in that part of the country. Then we continue north on Thursday, August 19th, to the Dutchess County Fair and Expo in Redmond, Oregon. Be our first show in Oregon in 2 years almost. So looking forward to that. Then Friday, August the 20th, we're going to be at the Kettle House Amphitheater and near Missoula, Montana, which we've done before. Very cool amphitheater right outside of Missoula. Beautiful country up there. It's where the little river's behind the venue and stuff. I remember the guys back there fishing last. Yeah. And then we'll fly home the next day because we got your inaugural St. Jude Golf Classic in Little Rock on August 22nd and 23rd. So
yeah, looking forward to that. But you just blew my mind.
That's our next few weeks.
So
that's our next few weeks.
Get ready. Like I said, be careful what you wish for because here it is. But we're excited about it and looking forward to it. I wanted to bring up a couple of things just real quick. I usually don't, but I've actually been watching some of the Olympics.
Yeah.
And I never have before. I don't know kind of what got me started on it, but maybe getting older or something. Or maybe because, these were supposed to happen, in 20? Were they supposed to happen? And they didn't?
Yes, because these are being called the 20 Olympics, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't know, maybe because of that, but pretty neat. And I got to be honest, man. These athletes are just simply amazing. I mean, it's not sports necessarily that I'm too familiar with or anything, but when you look at just even the shape that they're in, whether it be swimming or running, and it's the men and the women. I mean, they're all just ripped and jacked and
breaking records.
Times that they're it's crazy. So it's and to know coming off men and women. I was just saying the time that they put into it just to go, for basically one event, and I realize it's the Olympics, but they put years and years into this, and I was watching a race the other day. I don't know if it was the 400 meter race, and watching the semifinals, and some of these, obviously they're the best in the world at what they do. The world, not the country, the world, and they don't even make most of them don't even make it to the race where you can get a medal.
Yeah.
That just blows my mind. You know what I mean? You think, okay, if I make it to the Olympics, at least I run the race of my life. Like, no, you got to do all these trials, and it's nuts, man.
Yeah, and I was going to say too, I was watching some of the relay swimming the other day, the men's relay swimming, and last year being coach, they didn't all get to train together and stuff. So I know we talked with Jess about individual sports and team sports. Well, that was one where it's individual, but it's a team sport, and they had to train. So they had to trust that all their teammates were putting in the work that they needed to be prepared for when it came back. And they all did, and they won and broke a record. It was awesome. But that's another wrinkle in their stuff. I mean, they all got disrupted. They all had to train different than they were used to for most of these people since they were teenagers or even younger. And still breaking records. I mean, I watched the Olympic runner. She was from, I want to say she was from Cuba that I saw the other day. I mean, just shattered the record. I mean, was a couple of feet in front of our American. That was the best, we had to offer. But, yeah, it's just amazing.
I think I know what you're talking about. The girl who won, she was actually American as well, but her mother was from Puerto Rico, maybe.
That's right, and she was from North Carolina. But
which
her mom
I got to
was
be
Puerto
honest,
Rican.
I was a little ticked off because I'm like,
me too.
I'm like, I mean, I get wanting to honor your mother, but could you do it maybe in a different way? Like, since you're from North Carolina, it's hard to see me not. It's hard for me to see you not drape the American flag over you because I'm like, we won, an American won, like
right.
But I'm like I don't know. Maybe I'm a little out of it and don't quite understand it, but
or just come in second for that. Let America win, and you just come in second. You still
it was
silver's honored.
Yeah, I don't know. I watched the same thing. It was on the other night.
Yeah,
like Sunday night maybe or something.
Yep. We watched a lot of them Sunday.
And I was like, man, it frustrated me.
Yeah. Well, and then I'm like, and then I want to say like the NBA guys, which our guys are stepping it up. We just beat Spain for the first time in a while, and which Ricky Rubio, he's had 40 points or something for Spain. He pretty much totes them. But I think about all the international stars, which I guess you go back and play for your home country. But what if they all, since they live and work in America, they all played for America?
Right.
What if we had
I
Luka Doncic
can
and
at least understand that and respect that. But like, if you're from North Carolina, why are you running for Puerto Rico?
Yeah,
like
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean,
I guess you get the option if your nationality,
I guess so.
if your family lineage comes from somewhere. Because how would that be? Because what if you were good in America and you just said, well, I'm not going to make the team here, but I can go make it in, some other country, and if their country say doesn't have is not big in that sport, they'll be like, yeah, we'll take you because we don't have a good one in that particular sport. Or something.
And I'm completely ignorant to all this. So if somebody out there knows what we're discussing, and you actually know why people do that, just correct me, please, because I have no idea. I thought it was ironic that was the case. I don't know. I found it odd, at least. But I've never really watched a whole lot of the Olympics in my life, so I mean, I watch certain things. I actually prefer the Winter Olympics. I like the skiing and the luge and the hell, I even like the what's the weird one where they try to get curling. I even like watching that for some reason.
Yeah, and I remember watching when I was younger. Sheree said the same thing. They never watched it a whole lot growing up. Well, it's every 4 years, so you could miss it through your teen years. It depends on when it hit. You might be too young to care or might be busy with other stuff. I can remember 96 when they had
was
the
that
Olympics
in Atlanta?
Atlanta, yeah. That was because that was close to home because they were actually using – at the time, I was in Eclectic where I grew up, and that's 2.5 hours from Atlanta. So they were even using some rivers and stuff close to the state line for their kayaking events and this. And I remember all that going on. It was a big deal. And
was that like around the time of like FloJo and?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you the
Jackie
big one.
Joyner Kersey.
Yeah. Well, that was a little before. This was a little after those.
Yeah.
But the big one from that year that I still remember because it's the anniversary of the 25th year anniversary, and I actually talked with him week before last, but by the time I thought about trying to get him on the podcast, he was so busy, was our buddy Kurt Angle.
That's right, yeah.
In 96 is when he won his gold medal in wrestling for the United States with a broken neck. And then after that went on to have a 20-something year career as a professional wrestler and world champion at that. Not just a manager. He was a world champion performer athlete.
Yeah, we're gonna get him on here too. Super
yeah,
guy.
and he said,
super,
and then of
super
course
guy.
the one date he said he had available in September was the day of the golf tournament, because he said, "Man, bro, I am just slammed. I literally have zero time. I've got this date. Can we do it any day that day?" And I was like, it's the day of the golf tournament. I know we're not going to have time that day, so we'll just do it later in the year. But I wanted to get him on. But shout out to the 25th anniversary of our brother, Mr. Kurt Angle, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania's finest, going in and winning the gold for America in the 96 Atlanta Olympics. Moving on from the Olympics, which is interesting, and we'll have more on that. We'll do a medal count. We'll have more to talk about that on next week's podcast. But let's switch gears to American sports, because the only thing that matters here in the South is our pride. The SEC, the Southeastern Conference, as it was once referred to, Justin, has now decided that we're going to let in
everyone.
Former Southwest Conference member and destroyer Texas, now former Big 12 member and destroyer Texas, and their counterpart Oklahoma Sooners are going to come join the SEC. So I guess it's the SEWC, Southeast and West Conference.
I don't know. I just want. Here's what I want. All the people in the Big 12, let's say, or outside of the SEC, anybody outside the SEC who has been screaming the SEC's overrated and it's not the biggest and the baddest and the best, now is your time to take it, cook it up, and eat your crow.
Right.
And apologize. And because they're literally going, if we can't beat them, join them. And it ain't stopping with Texas and Oklahoma. I can promise you.
Did you hear today?
Clemson and FSU.
Yeah, submitted there. They want to be a part too.
Yeah, I mean it's not going to stop. And I think what we're headed towards personally is about a 32-team SEC, and they're just going to basically secede from the NCAA.
Yeah.
And the NCAA will be maybe D2, D3, some of the smaller D1, not power conferences, so to speak. And they're just going to do their own thing. And all it boils down to is Disney's money, because Disney owns ESPN.
Yep. Ad revenue.
That's all it boils down to. But I think, with the NIL, where the players are now able to use their name and likeness to get paid, I'm afraid, as a fan of amateur sports, I'm afraid that we may have seen this is the beginning of the end of amateurism, I think. Yep. I hate it. Unless you drop down to the lower levels, but I don't know. I don't like change in anything, so I'm not on board with any of it, but I don't know. Nobody's asking my opinion, but obviously.
Yeah, I just think I'm in the same boat. People ask me, and we'll go through a couple of these quick here on the Q&A stuff that people send in comments saying, what do you and JM think about these teams joining the SEC? And I just throw up the puke emoji, because that's what it makes me want to do. It makes me want to puke, to be honest with you. I just see it cutting in on playing our rivals, restructuring our conferences. When SEC is fine how it was, we've got enough teams. Now you're going to not play teams every year that you're used to playing every year. Mm-hmm. And I think that you should have other conferences. It's like, I think that's, like they did the Southwest Conference. Texas did their own thing, the Southwest Conference, got it dismantled. You guys joined the SEC in '92. They over at the Big 12. Well, the Big 12 never had a Big 12 network because the Longhorn Network. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that's what they – and, it all boils down to like anything you see. It's all greed. Whatever goes money down, it's all money and greed. So instead of figuring out a way to make that work, they joined the SEC, which SEC I'm sure is like, well, that's two big markets. That's two big teams with a lot of alumni.
Love it. Bring it on. More money, more power, more – it's I don't know, man. I see it. I see it. This is the tip of the iceberg, I believe. And, I kind of answered that question. I'm kind of with you. I like the way it was. I don't know. I just like the way it was. Just keep it that way. But obviously that ain't going to happen. And well, it's going to be interesting to see, from here what it looks like maybe 3, 4, 5 years from now. It's going to be the landscape's going to be completely different. I mean, with the NIL stuff, you guys, for instance, in Alabama, you got a quarterback that's looks to be like y'all's next starter who hasn't played a down of football.
That's already a millionaire.
He's a millionaire. I just don't like that. I just don't. I don't know. And I understand the argument behind these guys are making millions. These coaches and these players are putting all the work in, and I still subscribe to the fact that nobody's forcing you to go do this. You are getting a free education in return, which who's to say what that free education is worth down the road? It could be worth millions if you choose to use it wisely enough. So I don't subscribe to the fact that they absolutely deserve to get paid. I just don't. It's a slippery slope, and where does it end? There's so many loopholes. I mean, we all knew that there was cheating going on by the majority of people in positions of power, to get recruits or to whatever. We all know that game exists, but you kind of just buried your head in the sand, didn't worry about it. But nowadays, man, I don't know. I don't like it. As a fan alone, I don't like the optics of it.
I'm in the same. I'm right there with you.
So,
yeah.
Where does it end? A guy.
That's the thing.
A guy in ninth. Let's say a guy in ninth grade that's going to be a 5-star running back or whatever. What is he going to become a millionaire in the ninth grade? I mean, it's just going to snowball and get crazier and crazier because there are no rules in place. There's no cap. There's no. I don't know. I mean, somebody may have an argument there that I go, well, that's a great point. I didn't think about that, but I don't know. From a fan's perspective, I just don't care for it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, man. It's just it's like you said, best slippery slope, man. It's going to eventually turn. And what's the incentive? What's the incentive to go to school and actually care and learn and try? If it doesn't matter at that point.
No.
I hopefully it doesn't dilute down talent. Hopefully people don't. and also too thrusting a bunch of money on people like that if they don't have somebody around them. Who knows?
There's going to be more.
You turn 16, you're a millionaire. You get a Maserati, and then you go wrap it around a tree. I mean, hopefully that doesn't happen, but
I think it's going to further enhance the opportunities for people with ill intentions around these kids to take advantage of them. Yep. That already goes on in AAU and that kind of stuff, where these handlers give bad advice because they think it's going to benefit them, not the kid. And I don't know. I don't see it ending well, and I hope I'm wrong. But there are going to be instances where it does, but I just see a lot of negative opportunities out there for these kids. And you got all your life to make money, man. You don't have to make it when you're 18. I mean, that's not what it's about.
No.
And then, is it not going to further divide locker rooms? Like, for instance, what do you think y'all's backup quarterback thinks about the dude he's playing behind getting $1 million and ain't played a down? Like,
Nothing.
What does that do on the practice field, in the locker room, in team meetings? He's got to be sitting there going, man, screw him.
Yeah, and
I'm better than he is. Or,
right.
You know what I mean? Like,
and it was already bad enough with scholarship athletes and stuff. Because I remember my good friend Wayne Mills, when we got to go tour the locker room in Alabama in the early 2000s, and him showing me where the walk-ons locker rooms were and the scholarship athletes locker rooms were, and you could tell there was stuff already there because there's already stuff going on, like you're saying, the animosity and the it's just, especially when you're young like that. Yeah, you see this guy, you're like, and hopefully not out trying to hurt somebody because of it or take extra liberties or any of that.
I mean, there's so many things that you could sit here and dream up of what bad could come from it, but I don't know. But anyway, we'll see how that pans out, and it'll be interesting to watch. That's for sure. But
and yeah, that's enough about that. But like you said, be careful what you wish for, Texas and Oklahoma. Just be careful what you wish for. That's all I say.
I saw. I don't remember where the clip was. If it was a senator or state representative or something, that apparently was talking to some high up at Texas University, and there was a panel, and apparently the lady who was the representative was a TCU fan, and she busted his balls like in this. I don't know if it was some kind of legislative session or something, but goes ask what their revenue was per year, and he said something around $250 million or something, and she goes, and with all that revenue, you still haven't fielded a very good football team lately, have you? Something that I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
He goes, well, We've won our share of games, and she goes, well, you've gone 3-7 in the last 10 years against TCU. I guess your fans would rather y'all go get beat by Alabama every year. It was fun. It was pretty funny. I mean, she just blasted him, right? And there was nothing he could say. He was just like, yeah, he just kind of laughed it off.
Did you see the thing too where they're trying to ban the horns down thing?
Not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen. But you come to T-Town, baby.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll get off that. We'll get back on there. We'll see. Wish everyone a good, healthy, happy season. We'll see how it all shakes out.
Right.
I want to hit a couple of things here just before we get out of here today. We'll do a couple of these comments and suggestions and stuff we've had on Twitter and Instagram. JR the Handler on Twitter and Instagram. Justin Cole Moore on Twitter and Instagram. That's the only two. Remember, if Justin doesn't have the blue check mark beside it, it's not him. Neither of us have any separate accounts outside of our two main accounts. So if it's anybody claiming to be us or something like that, I see it all the time on the fan pages. It's not. So just putting that out there. Anyway, I got this one on on Instagram a few weeks back. Sorry being so tardy on this. This one's from Brent Lankford. Brent says, hey guys, love the podcast and tune in every week. My daughter Harper's 10th birthday is coming up July 20th. She's a huge JM fan and will love a shout-out. Number one country song on her birthday was If Heaven Wasn't So Far Away.
Wow.
We took her to see Justin and Tracy in Kansas City March 7th, 2020 at the Uptown Theater, and she loved it. Hope to catch another show soon.
Well, happy belated birthday, Harper. Sorry we missed it. We're a couple of weeks tardy on that, but happy belated birthday. I hope it was a great one.
So Heaven Wasn't So Far Away, 10 years ago, number one, Just.
Wow. Hard to believe.
Yep. No, it's not a good one. This is from Ben Frank. He just says, sitting at a bar stool listening to Hearing Things. JM is boss.
Oh, thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Appreciate that, Ben. Here's one real quick. Hi, Justin and JR. My name is Liam, all the way from New Zealand. I'm 26, and I'm a truck driver. I'm a big fan of your podcast and your music. Keep it up. Just a quick question. Will you ever come and play some shows in New Zealand? Going back to the episode about the roast meals, here in New Zealand, we generally have pork, beef, chicken, or deer with roast potatoes, pumpkin, carrots, and gravy.
Potatoes, right?
Yep, potatoes, though. Yep,
There you
potato,
go.
pumpkin,
So
carrots.
our wives are wrong, and we're right.
That's right, and a deer roast, buddy. That's one of my faves
sounds
there,
good.
buddy. Big rump
Hey,
roast.
and to answer your question, I would absolutely. We've never made the greatest of efforts to, in all transparency, of going abroad, if you will, and maybe when all this stuff hopefully calms down with all this, this virus stuff here in a few years. Hopefully it's before a few years, but it would be a lot of fun to go over and do some stuff like in New Zealand, and I think it would be a lot of fun and a great experience for us. So hopefully we can make that happen.
Yeah, I'd love to go do some of that, especially when the kids get a little older. Maybe we can take everybody.
That would be fun.
Yeah, Sharice actually mentioned, of all places, ironic we get this day, she mentioned the other day, and she's not big on international because I want to go to Paris and go to the Eiffel Tower and all that. And she mentioned New Zealand, of all places. She would like to go to New Zealand. So
that'd be
definitely
cool.
have to make that happen at some point. Thanks for the comment, Liam. Appreciate you listening overseas there. Stay safe driving the truck. Hey, Lola, come check out the podcast. Lola gave us a look. She's like, all right, Daddy, Justin said we're going to be out of here soon. You dragging around. This one comes from Austin Howard. Austin said, hey, man, big fan of the podcast, huge fan of JM. I have a question. I think maybe season 1, Justin said he goes to a restaurant in Destin and gets his vodka drink. What's the name of the restaurant? Me and my lovely fiance are heading out there Tuesday and want to try the drink and eat the food. Thank you from Northern Mississippi.
My vodka drink's pretty easy. I can get it about anywhere. I do double Tito's soda, extra lime. You can pretty much get that anywhere. Unless I was thinking, or unless I mentioned it some specific drink.
I'm sure we were talking about getting drinks at the Crab Trap because I get the pink vodka sometimes with the soda there, and that's.
I tell you I'll give you a couple of restaurant recommendations though that we love. For breakfast, the Donut Hole, another Broken Egg. Those are probably the two faves of ours. As far as dinner goes, Harbor Docks.
Yes.
Louisiana Lagniappe is great. Cuvée, if you get down to 38 area. And then there's one that I haven't tried, but I've heard great things about called Marina Cafe down on the harbor.
Okay.
So I would check that out. But
very cool. Yep. That, and I don't get too far off, but yeah, Harbor Docks. I know I've told you the story, but back before we worked with John Party, Southern Hauler and I used to play there. They used to have a little dog shed out there, and we'd play a couple nights a week there. And
they used to have dog shit out there?
Yeah, dog shit. They had a little dog shed.
Okay. I thought you said they used to have dog shit out there.
Yeah, they may. But the food was definitely not dog shit. Food was scrum-diddly.
No, it's really, really, really good.
Asian inspired. You get good sushi rolls and some of the best smoked tuna dip ever. But
that tuna dip is awesome.
So good. So enjoy Destin. You really can't go wrong down there. I'd try to stay out of the tourist traps, except for the Crab Trap. I wouldn't really say that's a tourist trap. It's just a beach haunt. But
yeah, any of those on that beach road, that Pompano Joe's.
Yeah,
you're not going to do bad. Just here's my advice: don't go to Bubba Gump's or Red Lobsters or anything like that. Go to the local places because they have the fish that's literally coming in daily on these boats.
Right.
You know,
but if you do like driving all the way to the beach to eat popcorn shrimp, hey, that's fine too. Knock yourself out.
Yeah,
we used to do that too before we knew what was up. Let's see here, Just. Let's see if I got some here, and I got a bunch here on Twitter. Appreciate y'all chiming in using the hashtag Justin Moore Podcast when you interact with us on social media. Oh man, here's one. My buddy DP Hoyt on here. He always puts stuff on here. I think we sent the same one, and everybody's seen it by now. It's the Oklahoma in the Big 12 and the Oklahoma in the SEC picture. One is Batista, and the next one is one of the guys from Tiger King. It's pretty funny.
I sent you that the other day.
Yeah. He was the same one that asked me our take on that. My buddy Cody Big Ox from Texas sent us a TV recommendation for you on Hulu called Brockmire. You ever watch Brockmire?
I've heard of it. I haven't.
He said that was a good one.
Check it out.
Here goes James Johnson on Twitter says, love the Justin Moore Podcast. You and Justin are down to earth and keep it real. Everyone knows that it's potatoes with roast. Roll Tide Roll, just like it's black-eyed peas on New Year's Day.
Yep. Exactly.
That's what I thought.
Hog jaw, cabbage, and black-eyed peas.
Yep. Or our turnip greens and black-eyed peas. So we turnip green, cornbread, black-eyed peas, cabbage, ham. Those are the New Year's things that we always had. Our buddy Paul Rogers, mashed potato goes best with roast. No doubt.
I think we're sweeping this one.
Yeah, not even close. Another Texas Oklahoma thing. We don't like it. This is from a longtime fan and friend. You'll remember Miss Anita. Anita Toole and her husband, they come to a bunch of shows. I think she's been to 30-something shows. She said, great show. While walking out last night, this would have been in, where did I see her? Was this Nevada we saw her? She said, while walking out of the show last night, ran into a Vietnam vet. He said a song has never hit him like that, made him cry. How proud he was to be a vet. I love when that happens. Proud of JM for always supporting our military. Hashtag the ones that didn't make it back home.
That's cool. That's really neat to hear that.
Yep.
All right, pick a good one. Last one, JR. I got to get to work, man.
Yeah, buddy. Here we do. Hey, if anybody didn't know, TikTok, Beta Hook is trending on TikTok. People keep sending me these videos of people just ridiculously dancing.
I meant to bring that up.
To Beta Hook on TikTok. So we don't do TikTok on here on the Justin Moore podcast, but y'all go check it out.
If you do it, I think they made up a little dance or something, but it's literally blown up. It's become like a thing. I have no idea what that thing is, but
it's a thing.
Pretty funny.
For sure. Yep, no doubt. Well, that's it. I'm gonna save the rest of these for next time we jump on here and go through some Q&A. I want to thank everybody for using the hashtag Justin Moore Podcast when they do send us stuff on social media. You can send it to my jrthehandler.com website. Check the chat page on there regularly. It sends me notifications, so you can use that. You can also go on there and check out some of my fantastic JR the Handler merchandise. You can go to justinmooremusic.com. Check out all Justin's new merch. I know we just approved some new tank tops. We got some new hats. Bobcats come on. We've got some new stuff with them. So there's all kinds of new swag on there. All of our tour dates are on the website. We keep that up to date as much as possible. So y'all check on there for dates. Whatever's on there should be happening. So y'all go to justinmooremusic.com, check out tour dates, all his merch, all that fun stuff. Before we get out of here, we'll do a quick book that I'm going to read from my Charlie Daniels book before we get out of here. But I thought these were neat. I've got one of these in most places I've ever lived, and you see it usually at the pharmacy or somewhere. But it's Images of America, and it's usually whatever town or county or so whatever's local to you. And they make these everywhere. And I got this one for Foley, Alabama, because that's the town right north of us that has them. But it's really cool with all these old pictures and stuff. I don't know if anybody else ever if you heard of these or does that, but I love looking at old pictures of places. And these Images of America books are awesome for that. So y'all go check that out.
I've never even heard of those.
No, they're super cool, dude. They it's basically any town or county, and it's just old pictures of like when the first ones they ever had. It's like an archive.
Where you get that at?
I got this at like Walgreens.
I need to look around here. That'd be interesting to know.
Because I've got them
look like.
Yeah, I've got them for like Jackson, Mississippi. I got them for Nashville, and
That's
I
cool.
got them. They had them in Houma, and they had one for Terrebonne Parish when we lived down there. So those are cool. Y'all check those out. And while we're on America this week, and the Olympics and everything else, and Images of America, a song that I want to put out there this week. Check out if you hadn't heard it yet is by our fellow label mate and buddy. Hadn't seen him in a while. With his kick-ass crocodile boots on, is Mr. Aaron Lewis.
Great song.
Former rocker turned country singer. He's got a song. Am I the only one out right now that is just awesome?
Yeah, check it out. I think everybody listening to this podcast or watching, you'll like it a lot.
Yeah,
it's really.
If you hadn't heard
good.
it yet,
well
check
done.
out. Yeah, he sings his butt off on it too.
No doubt.
So y'all check that out. We're gonna get him on here at some point.
Yeah.
On
And
the
speaking of songs, I just want to mention we're officially inside the top 5 now. We didn't have much, so that's exciting. Hopefully, here in about 3 weeks, y'all keep your fingers crossed. That's our 10th number 1 record on the radio. Hopefully, fingers crossed, everybody. So
Yep.
But I wanted to report that we're inside the top 5, so that's pretty awesome.
Yes. Yeah, and our buddy Cole Swindell's at the top of the charts this week. I saw with his single Saturday Night song. It was awesome. Congrats, Cole, on that. That's one I've talked to him before. Cole and I go way back, and you too. You've known him forever too. And we've talked about getting him on here. We just hadn't pinned it down, but that'd be a good one to get him on soon, because I know they're back.
Hey, there's
rocking.
plenty of them left out there we hadn't talked to, like Cole. So for sure. But
hopefully we'll see him at some shows.
Yeah, exactly. But thank you guys again for tuning back in to the Justin Moore podcast. As always, rate, like, subscribe, hit the notification button so you're always ready to receive what we have for you. And hopefully you guys are enjoying it as much as we are enjoying it. And hopefully we'll see y'all on the road here real soon.
Yep, y'all check out those dates. Come see us at a live concert sometime in a city or town or event near you. This has been episode 23 of season 3 of the Justin Moore Podcast. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Remember to use the hashtag Justin Moore Podcast anywhere you hook up with us at on social media or want to send us a question or comment. And we'll see y'all next week.
See you.
Cheers.
I want to give a quick shout out to Bobcat Company, who really does make a job, any job that is, easier. They got everything from skid steers to compact tractors, utility vehicles, zero-turn mowers, and everything in between. Their products are designed to make your lives easier. I like that. Which means spending more time with your family and doing the other fun things you love. Y'all know how big of a deal that is to me. Make sure you visit bobcat.com to see what products might be a good fit for your property. Hey, what's up, guys? Justin Moore here. I want to remind everyone out there listening that my wife, Kate, has an awesome children's clothing boutique in downtown Benton, Arkansas. It's Central Arkansas. So if you're local, come see us at 119 West South Street in downtown historic Benton, Arkansas. Again, that's 119 West South Street in Benton, Arkansas. And if you're not local, we ship everywhere. So you can find us at shopthislittlepiggy.com and see all that we have to offer, all that my wife Kate has to offer, I should say. Facebook, you can find us at shopthislittlepiggyAR. And Instagram, you can find us at shopthislittlepiggyAR. But check us out. It's called This Little Piggy. And see what we got to offer. ShopThisLittlePiggy.com.
Hi, y'all. This is Brandon Bing, singer-songwriter and whiskey maker. You're tuning in to the Justin Moore Podcast. Visit EasyLiquor.com to grab your bottle of Bangtail Whiskey and join the Blue Collar Swaller family today. Follow us on all socials at Bangtail Whiskey for more news and updates. Now pour Jigger and take this 8-second ride with us.
Hey, gang. As y'all have heard, the Justin Moore Podcast has recently teamed up with Wrangler. Wrangler has been an icon in authentic American style around the world for more than 70 years. With a rich legacy rooted in the American West, Wrangler commits to offering unmatched quality and timeless design. As y'all have heard me and Justin talk about on here, George Strait and Alan Jackson, they're Wranglers. We wear Wranglers too. Its collections are also for men and women, children, to look and feel great, inspiring those who wear them to be strong and ready for life every day. Wrangler is available in retail stores worldwide, including brand flagship stores in Denver and Dallas, department stores, mass market retailers, specialty shops, Western outfitters, and online. For more information, visit Wrangler.com. And you know you've heard it here, and you've seen it on stage, the Justin Moore Podcast. Dang glad to be partnered up with Wrangler because we're big fans and have been for a long, long time. Can't go wrong with a nice pair of Wranglers, y'all. I wear the Wrangler Retro. Justin wears the black one some. It's my go-to. I get mine at Academy. So if you're around an Academy or just about anywhere, you can get you a pair of Wranglers, whether you want to look like George Strait, or you want to look like JM, or you want to look like me. You can get you some Wranglers, and you can do that. Whether you're in North California or South Alabama or Montana, Texas, Ohio, Wyoming, wherever, a pair of Wranglers will get the job done. Long live cowboys and plowboys. For more information, visit Wrangler.com. For any of you first-time listeners out there, at the end of each of our episodes, I like to do a little reading out of a book I've had that I've got a lot of use out of over the years. The book is by Mr. Charlie Daniels, and the book is called Let's All Make the Day Count, The Everyday Wisdom of Charlie Daniels. Bucking the odds. If you falter in a time of trouble, how small is your strength? Proverbs 24:10. The pages of history are loaded with those who are bold enough to go against the odds, even to the point that what they were attempting at the time was counter to any kind of rational thought. They were considered tetched and a prime target of ridicule. When God told Noah to build the ark to survive the flood to come, it had never rained. Can you imagine Noah trying to explain the gigantic structure and its purpose to his contemporaries? I'm sure they would have tried to commit him to the funny farm if they had such a thing in the time. And if building the ark was not enough, he went out and started collecting a huge herd of animals and put them on board the monstrosity after he built it. But when Noah and his family finished their work, went on board, closed the door, and the rain began to fall, nobody was laughing. Only 8 people, Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives, escaped the flood. Talk about going against all odds. Noah went against every other person on earth. He refused to succumb to the derision and ridicule of the majority. Instead, he put his head down and did what God had told him to do. Do you have something that only you believe in? Are you willing to risk failure and ridicule to bring it forth, no matter what everyone else thinks? Well, go ahead and buck the odds. If it doesn't work the first time, try again with that dream or a new one. Listening to the crowd has killed many a good idea. Opinions are common. Everybody has one. When it comes to what you're capable of, nobody's opinion is important as your own. Let's all make the day count.